Have you ever wondered why?
When?
How much?
What if?
Well, you're in luck, because you're listening to the Hypotheticast.
3 best buds.
On a mission.
To ask all the questions?
And get all the answers.
I was born with both guns blazing, and I do think I'm amazing. You got the dignity to feel a little about yourself. I don't care what your preacher says. I got my own vicious ways. Only got one command and it goes, I'm killing it. I'm killing it.
Wow.
Hello.
Wow. Thank you for coming.
We're here in the great outdoors.
Ooh, a bird.
A snake.
Oh, 3 red stripes and then a yellow one means you're going to die real soon.
Fellow one.
We're actually in the new studio.
You're puncturing the balloon of our illusion.
I know, I'm
that
sorry, I'm
we're
just so
outside
excited because your
camping.
new home is so cute.
Yeah, the Belusion.
Sorry,
Yes.
guys. I just wanted to tell
That's
everybody that you two have upgraded
Yeah, we live in a tent now.
to a very
it's a
cute
tent
house.
in a cute house's backyard.
Yeah, but really,
All right,
I bet.
that's fine. Let's go with that. David and
bet-
Mike live in a tent in some random person's backyard
but the
in
inside
Minneapolis.
of that person's house looks pretty nice from here. Not that we'll ever know.
Oh my
The
god!
whole reason we're creating this detailed illusion for you is that we are doing an episode about camping.
Yes,
That's true.
Ever
It's where you
heard
go
of it?
outside. Yes, let me define camping for you.
Okay, Webster's Dictionary says.
It's where you go outside and then you sleep.
What if you say
I think it's like art.
it's a thing where you go somewhere that's away from your home and you sleep in something that's not a building?
So is putting up a
sure.
tent in your backyard as a kid not camping?
Well, you are. I think it is on the borderline.
I think
Yeah,
that's more
okay.
like sleeping in a tent in the
I think
backyard.
for
Okay,
a kid, like for
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
But I was kind of scared.
Oh.
Outside at night is very different.
Predators.
And so I think as a kid, that is one step on the camping
Sure,
ladder.
it's not your bedroom.
Not your bedroom. You're outside. You hear more critters. Maybe a neighbor man comes and tells you scary stories.
Is that
That
true?
happened at a 4th grade birthday party
Oh my
that we camped
God,
in the backyard.
no.
That's how I got introduced to scary stories to tell in the dark. I didn't sleep
it
for a
Alvin
month
A neighbor
after that.
man brought
I
it
don't
over?
even, honestly, to this day, I'm not sure who this man was. He was sanctioned by the family, but he was.
Was it you from the future?
No, it was not.
Just
It
say
was not.
sanctioned by the family.
He wasn't like a random man.
He didn't come
it was-
knocking on the
Yeah,
tent
hey,
door at
want to
like
hear a
2 in the
scary
morning.
story
I'm
about
Alvin Schwartz.
Yeah, right. But it was definitely the perfect and worst atmosphere for
Yeah.
hearing scary stories to tell.
Oh,
in the
that
dark.
is perfect. I'm jealous of that, actually.
So
That's pretty
I feel
cool.
like it's important for all of us to explain what level camper we are in terms of what our childhood past is.
Real quick.
And what we're
Mention
comfortable with.
childhood camping past. I have a surprise for you guys. So get excited.
Oh, I'm
You guys can
excited.
speculate while I come and go get the surprise.
S'mores.
It could be that. It's fire. He's going to bring fire. Yep, there he is. He's lighting a fire in the kitchen.
Yay!
Oh, yay! Oh, my God. Best part of camping. Hands down.
Oh, my God. Those.
Oh, my God. We should tell people
Yeah, we should
what it
probably
is.
describe
Let's
in
just
audio.
exclaim
what this is.
vaguely for another 5 minutes. It's the pack of little teeny cereals.
I feel like we did mention these on a different episode about how this is one of the best
'Cause
things
they're
about
amazing.
camping.
Oh my God. Yes.
So help yourself.
I love
we got
them
all
so
the best
much.
kinds.
I always
yourself.
felt a little bad. My dad would we're big campers. I'll just start by saying,
what level big?
I mean,
is
the
what
first
you
time
are?
I went camping, I was 3 months old.
Dang.
My
Did your
parents just
go with, or
really
was
loved it. No, they
was it
just sent me
you?
off on my
Okay,
own.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
with a wolf. My parents always big campers. They went backpacking on their honeymoon. That's just their thing.
Okay.
We went pretty much every summer when I was a kid, all kitted out with the REI stuff. But we were there was a level of roughing it. It was tent camping.
Okay.
We would go hike in the woods, that kind of thing. But my dad had like, like a skillet thing that he would bring. And so like he would make pancakes usually one morning. And I always felt a little bad because like that was more work and it was also awesome. But we were always so much more psyched about the sugar cereal boxes because at home we got like Rice Krispies. And so we were like, holy shit, sugar cereal. We get to eat it.
Vacations were the time.
Yeah.
And camping specifically. It was like, you know what? The standards are lower and we're going to let you eat whatever you want.
Everything's a little different. But we had like so many traditions. We had like a specific campgrounds we always went to. We always did the same like hikes around those campgrounds, ate the same food. One night we do Jiffy Pop. One night we do hot dogs.
That sounds almost like a family reunion style. Like, here are the rituals that we do.
My family is very ritual based.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm similar to you, Emily. We did a lot of camping as a family. Went to the north shore of Lake Superior. At some point, we upgraded to a pop-up camper, which I think I liked less because I feel like it's kind of like sparkling water. Where like a camper, you expect sparkling water to be like soda, but it's not. It's just like water that's a little better, right? And so like
exciting
a camper, you're like, cool, this will be nice. It'll be like sleeping in a bed in like a bedroom. But it's not. It's like this cramped little place where like you have like a tiny little, maybe a sink and like a little table, but you're still all kind of crammed together.
So
it's
cool.
basically like a tent
like,
that's slightly better.
Yeah.
Right. Just
or
like
a bed
get
that
a
can
nice,
drive around.
get a nice pad. That's always like, I don't mind sleeping on the ground. Just get a good camping mat, like a pad.
Yeah, or an air mattress. Those are not that hard to get.
I mean, so like you can get something to make sleeping in a tent pretty comfortable.
Yeah, camping tips.
David,
that's what we're doing.
Talk to us about what level you are.
I am level inconsistent.
Okay.
I have done it all, but not a lot of any of it. That's
okay.
So like my parents, my dad is like Emily's family, like hiking, backpacking, even Boundary Waters portaging with his friends, like fishing for the only food he eats sort of level of camping, which is impressive to me. My mom does not like camping and had a very bad experience once eating a hot dog with dirt on it, I think. She often complains that hot dogs are too dirty when you go camping. And I don't really understand it. And now that I say it out loud, I'm going to have to ask her like why that's the thing that she focuses on when she anti-camp rants.
Yeah, I feel like you're just as likely to get dirt on a hot dog grilling in your backyard.
Or just buying it.
Or at a picnic.
It's a hot dog. There's a lot of other things you should be worried about that are in that hot dog already.
There's pig hooves in there.
Nitrates.
Yeah, but just,
Dirt's
know,
fine.
like don't drop it in the dirt, Helen.
So she was not super into it. My dad super was into it. So we did a lot of dabbling in many different things. And the most memorable tough camping experience that we had was we went to Afton once, and you have to hike in a decent amount to get to the campsites at Afton up a decent sized hill. And my brother was complaining a lot that his bag was too heavy. He was pretty little. He was probably like 7. And he was like, guys, my bag's too much. Like we all had kind of big packs because we had to carry everything into the campsite. And they were like, you're fine. You'll be okay. Just suck it up, little Michael. And he was like, no, it is. And he actually fell over at one point because his little body couldn't, like his bag was heavier than his body when he was ascending a hill, and he just fell backwards and just laid there. And he was like, see, it was great. It's the most cartoony thing that's ever happened to me in a camping experience.
Hilarious.
And he's still there.
He's just been laying there kind
this day.
of looking around, proving that he was right. It was too heavy.
On the Hypotheticast, our next segment here is called Would You Rather? And this is the part of the show where we choose between 2 or more deceptively simple options. We have listeners submitted camping Would You Rather questions today. The first one is a nice, I think, simple one to get us started. From Thomas Martin Lockman. Thomas asks, would you rather camp for 1 week in any location of your choosing, or spend 1 day and 1 night in a variety of locations, road trip style?
Oh, okay.
I feel like this kind of gets to the crux of my family's like routineness. It's my dad especially. So like he really likes tradition and revisiting things. Sometimes I'm frustrated by it because like he's gone to backpack on Isle Royale a million times. And I'm like, Dad, you could go to so many other cool places and backpack and it would like blow your mind. But there's a part of me that really gets it because when you stay at one place for a long time, you develop little like favorite spots and little routines that are really familiar. And it has that feeling, you know, when you're like on vacation or something somewhere for about a week, like those last couple of days, you're kind of like, oh, I have a little bit of a home feeling here.
I'm gonna miss this place.
Yeah, you feel like super comfortable. So I'm going to go with the one place. Road trips are fun, but if we're talking camping, I think it's even better to like hunker down, get to know where you're at, explore your surroundings a little more in depth.
Oh yeah. Poke around.
Yeah, I agree because camping requires a setup and one night in a place, like you're spending a good chunk of your entire time setting up. Like on a road trip, I would prefer to stay at like an Airbnb or just do the hotel thing because you're stopping for one night only. Yeah. And so if you have to set up all your stuff, you don't get to do it as much. And again, what you say about getting to know the place, very true, I think. I remember like going and camping in Temperance River State Park, so called because apparently the river had no sandbar, no bar, Temperance. Although it has developed a sandbar, so they have not changed the name of the river.
Did they put a bar on the sandbar?
They served alcohol at the river. Yep, at Lake Superior.
Awesome.
Yep,
makes sense to me.
You kind of get to know the people in the campground, or there would be like the life campers who were like they were there for like the summer. Yeah, and you don't get to know that if you're just there for one night.
No, it's true.
I love the variety of a road trip too, but not with the camping. Camping, you should stick around.
Stick around. Camping. I completely agree. I think this one is actually, I think most people would come down on the side of staying at a campground for a while because I think, you know, I don't know the stats. I haven't asked, but I think most people's complaint about camping is that you have to bring so much and set it all up every time.
Yeah.
And that's hard. And tents are like frustrating, classic, like 90s comedies have tent setting up scenes that go horribly, and that's based on reality because tents, especially in the past, were very hard to set up. They're getting better and better in terms of you can just kind of pull a cord and they just pop open, but tents are tough, and you don't, once you get it set up, you want to enjoy that tent for at least a couple times.
For sure.
Plus, I think the best camping experiences I've ever had were multi-day experiences at one big site with like a few tents with friends or family where we could set up little stations for things and like a big tarp over it if it rained over the fire or something, like setting up a little city. That's so much fun to me. I love that. So I want to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Next question comes to us from Chris W. Green. Would you rather eat a diet of only breakfast camping food or Swanson TV dinners from the 80s?
Wait, are the dinners from the 80s?
I think they mean 80s style.
Okay, that's better.
So let's say they decide to just like remake.
Yeah,
Swanson's is like, they were so good, let's do it again.
They're done. You got your little mashed potatoes. You got, I think, it says fried chicken breast portions, so those actually look pretty good. You mixed veggies, and I think a little apple crumble in the middle up there.
It's a TV dinner.
So camping breakfast food.
Is that like granola bars?
It's like the cereal boxes.
These cereals, I guess. I just like, we would do like pancakes one morning and breakfast sausage.
Yeah, that's the thing is camping breakfast food's not an explicit category because you can eat any actual breakfast food.
I mean, like you're probably not going to do like, you're probably not going to bring a waffle maker. You're probably not going to do like Eggs Benedict. So it's kind of, I feel like you could do like classic breakfast food. Yeah. Eggs and stuff.
I think it's maybe, let's say it's the camping food that you had when your family was camping.
Oh, okay.
So that would be for me, these little cereal boxes. And that's pretty much it. No, we didn't. We definitely had very simple foods. I'm not 100% sure why TV dinners are the alternative. That's not really a camping thing, I guess.
I think they're both things that are meant to be eaten in their own sort of self-contained format.
Very functional.
Yeah, it's like you don't get a kitchen in either of these scenarios. I think that's the connection between these things.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the camping breakfast food because it's still just like, at least it's like more like real food.
Yeah.
And
It's
not
true.
like a little frozen square of macaroni and cheese that's been frozen for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the weird thing about the TV dinners is like, and I love a simple meal. You guys know this. A lot of microwave cooking here. But like, I think somehow, even though there's many kinds of TV dinners there, they all kind of like, there's a vague taste that's the
yeah.
same. And it's
Plastic.
kinda like,
They taste like
Maybe it's the
plastic.
tray they come in, but it's probably also like just the way they're making all these things and
Yeah.
preserving them. Like,
They're just not
this Salisbury
good.
steak tastes like the mashed potatoes, tastes
Yeah.
like the fried chicken, tastes like the brownie that came with this
Yeah.
thing. So.
It's like proto future food.
Yeah.
Like someday we'll have a bunch of slop and we can make it taste like whatever we want. And today we have a bunch of slop in a TV dinner form and they've made it taste like sort of what we kind of want.
Yeah.
Someday TV dinners will be amazing. This is my dream, 2020.
So you pick the breakfast food too?
I pick breakfast food. I will almost always pick breakfast food
Sure.
over dinner food.
Oh.
TV dinners are just kind of nasty. Like,
They are.
and I'm not shaming. Like, I'm like Mike. I love a good thing made in a microwave. There is nothing wrong with that.
I'll eat a lean
But
cuisine.
TV
like
dinner is not good.
No.
They're just objectively less tasty than
feels
almost
like-
any other food.
it feels like most of the microwave food that you can get now is like acknowledging the limitations of microwaves.
Yes, it's important.
So it's like, look, we know that like pasta is one of the things that's like going to be okay.
do it. Rice,
right?
you
but
can
like
do it.
a biscuit
A biscuit.
a fried chicken
and
No.
fried chicken
You can't.
and macaroni and a brownie on the same plate.
All
like
made at the same
they
temperature.
need different
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
I think that's why I don't like KFC. It's because KFC reminds me of TV dinners.
Really?
It's better.
Yeah. Oh, it's better. Don't get me
I really
wrong.
like KFC mashed potatoes.
KFC is like if you walked into
So
a TV
salty.
dinner and it was like being made for you live.
It's platonic
Sure.
ideal.
yeah, exactly. That's what TV
There it
dinners are
is.
based on is KFC.
Let's get into some of the other aspects of camping. Emily Allgaier asks, would you rather be bitten by a bear or 10,000 mosquitoes?
Oh my. Bear. 10 bears.
To bear?
To bear.
Wait.
Oh, you want 10 bears.
10 bears.
That
Yeah,
wasn't
you know
on there, but if you want 10 bears.
One is not enough.
You can have 10.
Once I get a taste.
One bear bite.
One bear bite.
It's not
That's
going to
big.
be great. It's going to suck.
Probably.
But
don't usually nibble.
10,000 mosquitoes is an outrageous
You
number.
would die, right?
I don't know.
One of them has West Nile.
You'd have
Probably.
such a small amount of skin that would not have a bite on
Oh,
it.
that sounds so bad. Are bear bites itchy? Yes or no?
I mean, when they're
probably if they get
when they're
infected
healing,
later,
they are.
yeah, or when they're
that
healing.
doesn't sound good.
But like the thing about a bear bite is if it's like one bear bite, yeah, it would suck. But like if that was the extent of the experience, then you'd be like, see ya, going to the hospital now.
See ya. And then
You
the bear
get some
drives you to
good,
the hospital.
Yeah, you get some good drugs. They'd like sew you up, you know, like it would suck. It would suck, especially depending on where it is on your body. But 10,000 mosquito bites, I don't know. It's the number 10,000 that just makes me say like, no, I can't do
If
that.
it were 100, yes, I would do
absolutely,
that one.
yeah.
Even 1,000, maybe.
Even 1,000, maybe
10,000 is my whole body. It has to be. I don't think I have that many pores.
Oh, I think it's like more than your whole body. Yeah.
There's like mosquito bites on the bites.
And you have to wait while they line up and do it.
Oh,
that
God.
was my other
They
question.
could only go
Does it-
one at a time.
Does it all happen at once or do they all take turns? Because that sounds like it could be a day, 2 days of just constantly being bitten by mosquitoes. Oh, that is miserable.
What if it was over
I'd
the course
rather-
of your life?
Ooh.
10,000 over the course of your
That
life?
actually changes it.
That actually feels
this
like what-
question is, would you rather know that you're going to be bitten by a bear once in your life or know that you're going to be bit by a cumulative 10,000 mosquitoes? I might choose the mosquitoes just because I'm like, well,
I've already probably been bitten by
at least
a
lot.
good 1,000,
yeah,
maybe.
right? Like, yeah, that's not so bad if it's spread out because I'm gonna get bit by mosquitoes either way. It's not like I'm immune.
I mean, yeah, but I kind of am. Like, I think I've talked about this before. One time I remember saying I got my dad's blood, and
That's true, you did. That's the title of one of our episodes.
yeah, I thought it was maybe the title. They definitely will bite me occasionally, but it doesn't always leave a welt, and they're just not as into me. So I think it's hard. Like, I would pick the mosquitoes in that situation too, but
Which one of your siblings do bears like more?
I think probably Lauren.
That makes sense.
Do you guys know anyone who's been like bitten by a bear?
No, bears, like, if anything, they kind of like will scratch you.
I don't know anybody who's been bitten by
Yeah.
a bear, but it's different based on the kind of bear.
Yeah.
Like if you get bitten by a grizzly bear,
That's probably it.
you're fucked.
That's probably it.
Probably it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is they could be biting you on your neck and then you die.
Yeah, there's no guarantees of survival in this question.
Yeah. Whereas you probably would survive if you got bit by 10,000 mosquitoes. It'd just be rough.
You'd be
a
puffy.
Very rough experience. You'd be big puffy.
All right,
Puffy.
let's
Big Puffy.
let's do one more.
Okay, gotta
All
be
right.
quick.
Rowan Smith asks, creatures of the night often visit unsuspecting campers. True. Okay, you got it. That's the question.
Thank you for
True or
this.
false?
That was just a true-false question.
Can we play true or false?
Who would you rather have repeatedly bothering you in the night as you camped? Batman or Man-Bat?
Oh.
So these are both Batman characters.
Okay.
Just to clarify, I think we all know who Batman is.
The guy that shoots webs and flies over the city?
Yep. And Man-Bat is like an actual man who's turned into a bat, whereas Batman just dresses as a Batman.
So a bat mutant.
Yes.
Cool.
So I guess they're both visiting your campsite. One of them is.
And it says repeatedly?
It
Could you
says
describe
repeatedly bothering you in the night as you
bothering me in
camp.
the
They bothering me in the
night.
night. I'm gonna pick Batman because I have legitimately like gone camping with like brooding dudes, and I don't know. At a certain point, I feel like I can just be like, yeah, keep playing your acoustic guitar by the fire. I'm just gonna go close my eyes for a
You
bit.
think Batman would play his acoustic guitar?
He's just singing Kumbaya.
Yeah, he's like feeling
Trying
moody.
to impress you.
It's like here's some Incubus.
He's just
yes. Oh man, Batman would play
He totally would.
his own theme song.
I'm Batman.
I don't know. I just feel like in the context of camping, Batman would just be like, I have a hard life. Feel bad
Yeah.
for me. Emotions. I don't know.
You're probably right. Batman is pretty broody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would pick that?
Yes,
It's more
because bats, I do not like the way they move. I don't like the way they fly. And repeatedly bothering me in the night. Ooh, are they in my tent?
What if they move more like a
I
man?
don't-
What if it was like a big bat that moved like a person? Would that be better or worse than a regular little bat?
Oh, probably worse because I don't know. I don't have ill will towards bats, but the wings.
Yeah, the wings, and they're big.
In
Those
the,
big,
in the,
big,
in the eyes.
fleshy wings.
Little
Yeah.
mouth.
Oh God, have you guys seen pictures of those bats that are like 4 feet tall?
Oh, I love them.
4 feet
Oh
tall.
no,
Yeah.
there are like insanely large
Yeah,
bats.
there's one just like using an ATM. and
I don't like
it.
it.
withdraws money. It's like
Wearing
wild.
pants.
They are taking over.
Oh,
Big bats. Let's
They're
go.
just like us.
They're just like big bats. They're just like us.
us. So real quick, David, Batman or Man-Bat?
Big bat.
There wasn't
want
an
the
option.
4 foot
You
tall
want
one.
big bat?
I want big bat.
Okay. No element of man in there.
I think Man Bat is Big Bat. If they knew what they were doing, they would have called him Big Bat. But instead,
Okay.
Sesame Street would have probably gotten on him. I choose Batman, actually, to be completely honest with you. I'm going to
Yeah.
lay my
Thank you
cards
for
out
being
on the
honest,
table.
David.
Be vulnerable and
Jeez.
say, I want
Finally.
Batman. Because Batman is not going to hurt anyone. He's probably just going to be like either looking for criminals to like do some sort of moral vengeance on in a very unproductive way, or he's going to be like Bruce Wayneing it up and trying to like buy the campground to build an apartment building. Either way, not that harmful.
maybe
to
he'll
me.
be like Tom Haverford in Parks and Rec who buys all the Sharper Image
To go
camping goods.
He would
yeah.
be. He's so rich. Batman is so.
it would all be
rich.
bat branded stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Bat my bat-a-lantern
Bat
is going to
tent.
keep us safe
Don't
in
worry,
the
I
night.
have a bat fire.
My
It's like,
bat
we have a
mosquito
regular
repellent.
Fire. It's okay. He's got it all on his belt.
Do you think he would eat mosquitoes? Because bats eat mosquitoes,
I
right?
think he would try for flavor.
Batman is just like chomp.
Man-Bat would, for sure.
Man-Bat would. I think Batman might want to dabble.
What would Man-Bat do? WWMBD. That's
Yeah.
my bracelet. Great. Hey, you guess what? You guess what?
You is that
You
like,
guess what?
what are you trying to trick me into saying something?
You guess what?
I'm not going to say anything.
I don't.
That's the correct response. You guess what? I don't. It's the meat. It's time. I am the meat handler this week. My name is David, in case you've forgotten. And today, the question for you, Mike and Emily, as well as the listeners, is if you could invent something to make camping easier or more exciting, what would it be? And I'm going to say, just in case you were going to ask this follow-up question, it can be a physical thing or a traditional thing, like something every campsite would have, or an amenity of some kind that you could experience, or something like that. If you wanted to change something about the nature of camping, you could also do that. But if you can invent something to make camping more exciting or easier, give it to me. What is it?
I think I would want more treasure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like there is some.
Yeah.
But you want more.
More treasures.
Yeah,
In chests, out of
just like
chests.
times 10 of what there is now.
Yeah, I usually find a doubloon. Not really going to seal the deal.
Couple rubies in the fire pit.
Yeah, some rubies.
Yeah. Just
Big
a
old
couple of rubies.
Yeah. I mean, that's why people go camping, right? For the treasure.
So let me expound.
Yeah, tell.
There was some sort of camping club that my parents were all about, and me too, where like you had to hike on certain trails, and when you hiked to the end of it, there was like a secret passphrase.
Oh, yeah.
that you could write in your little club journal, and then if you got enough of them, you got like a prize.
That's pretty cool.
But I like the idea of having like a good quest out in the camping, and I guess it's because I'm just a big old nerd. But I also think that, like, yes, the point of most journeys is the journey and not the destination. But I think it's good to have a cool destination in mind.
It's fun.
And to me, like, yes, I like to be outdoors. We discussed a little in the intro, but like I like a lot of the creature comforts of home, having a nice toilet to poop in, having a shower to wash my body in. I like those things. But what gets me outside is like a really, like, if I hear there's like some mysterious like shed out in the woods, like I want to know what's going on in that shed.
I mean,
or like,
there are those.
well, yes,
you
but
could
like,
go find
but I think,
them.
well, let me. So I think the template that I'm thinking of is there are famous treasure hunts that like eccentric millionaires have put on.
Yeah.
People, some haven't even been solved for like decades. They're like, there's like picture books about them. Can't think of a specific one right now. We should probably have a whole treasure hunt episode just so we can
could.
talk about this.
We sure could.
But like the hiking quest that they made for my parents, like I feel like when you gamify these things, like I just am more like into. I'm kind of like
that.
When you're out in the woods, it's nice. You can be really. It's a meditative, contemplative. Sorry, can't say that word.
It's okay.
Contemplative.
Yeah, is that okay?
Experience. But I want something to draw me out there, like a little element of mystery of like, oh, maybe I'll find like a secret symbol that I'll have to like interpret.
Hobo code.
And maybe not even knowing exactly what I'm looking for, but just like the idea that in this big old like Yellowstone National Park, we've hidden some clues for you to find. That would maybe get me to go a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just because I like a good mystery.
It'd be fun if they like incorporated things like that, but it was like you could participate if you wanted to or not. You know what I
think
mean?
that's
Like if it
important.
was like if it was like you could do just a regular camping at this campsite, or you could get a little map that gives you some ideas of trails to hike, and then like there's maybe some clues on the trails.
But you could also just hike the trails.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like at Trader Joe's where if you find the little guy, you get a prize.
Yeah, the little guy.
I actually have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, you don't know?
The little guy?
Well, I think pretty much every Trader Joe's has like a thing for kids that like if
You get like a banana.
there's like a sticker. I think it's been different at different ones, but it's like, I don't know. Like, yeah, you find like
you're
an
right.
animal or something. And if you find it in the store and you say where it is, then you get a banana.
In
or
the
something.
one that I've been to, it's a little monkey that hides,
Yes.
and you get a banana if you find where the monkey
An
is.
actual monkey.
Cool.
Yeah, it's big. It's like
It's a gorilla.
I don't know if a gorilla is a monkey, but it's a
No.
gorilla, a full-sized actual silverback gorilla.
Hard to hide.
Hard to hide, but easy to find, which is great for bananas. For you get them.
So that is what I'm
Great.
talking
Great,
about.
great.
So
Find a
more
gorilla at a
gorillas,
Trader
more,
Joe's.
More bananas. Basically, I want to camp in a Trader Joe's. That's what you're.
yeah, that's my second.
That
one.
makes sense.
Great. I feel like some people are going to roll their eyes and be like, what a wuss.
Okay, I'll
But
get
guess
ready.
what? I don't care. I will get sweaty. I will get dirty. I will go on a long hike. I will get into
Sound
some
like
ghost stories.
wuss stuff,
Like
yeah.
I will do the whole camping thing.
Do it.
I really don't like bugs. I hate bugs. I hate them so much.
Oh, yeah.
And that is like literally, and I've said this for years, the only thing I don't like about camping. My dad used to take some of my friends and I camping during high school. Like he would like take a group of girls out. He was a very patient man. I don't know how he did it.
Yeah.
Then in college, my friends and I would just go like together. And one year, my best friend and I got to the sites first, and everybody else was going to like meet us there a couple hours later. And we were like, we'll get everything set up. The picnic table at this campsite had, I'm not even kidding you, like 12 different like types of spiders on it. We should have called like a scientist or something because it was unbelievable. And we both really hated them. And one of the things that this friend of mine, Allie, one of the greatest things she ever gave me in our friendship was teaching me how to fight my fear of spiders through tapping into rage. And I think it applies to other things too. What's something you're afraid of if you can tap into some anger. So we flipped the picnic table upside down, and then we emptied out one of the big food bins we brought with a bunch of food in it. It was just like a big plastic Tupperware. And then we took repeated multiple trips to the big water pump, filled it with water, came back and dumped it on different parts of the picnic table to wash the spiders away. But they were so big and nasty that we also were like loudly cursing at them the whole time. Regardless of the like adorable blonde family with children that was just a few feet away. It felt like we like went into battle together, and we finally got all the spiders off of this picnic table, because it was like, if we didn't do that, we would just have spiders on us. Like that was how many were on there. It was just like, well, if we use this picnic table at all, we will be like getting down with spiders. They were everywhere.
Spiders,
and that's like, I can deal with some mosquitoes, whatever, but I don't want to shower with like a 3-inch moth right by my face. I don't want to wake up to a big gray spider crawling around inside of this tent with me like that. I hate it. Yeah. It makes me so mad because it's a great experience otherwise, but I don't want those bugs up in my business.
I completely agree.
And they can be everywhere else. So what I want this invention to be, because that's the thing. I've evolved. I used to think we should just snip them out of the food chain and just like science should figure out a way that we can exist without bugs. But now I'm like, you know what? No, they can exist.
Snip them out.
But something that would create like an invisible dome around your site and around the bathroom facilities. So, like, that's the thing. If we're hiking around and I see a spider in a tree, like, yeah, that's their house.
Don't hate them for being in their house.
Cool web. Good job. But, like, I don't, want is something, but something where, like, you could still, like, everything else would feel like the elements. So, like, it wouldn't be an actual, like, plastic or glass dome, because I want the fresh air and, you know, birds can come in and squirrels and stuff, but like
not a bug.
No bugs. So some sort of invisible shield dome you could put over your site and like somehow within the first like 10 minutes, like get them all to leave that dome.
Right. It would also destroy any bug that was inside
or like
the dome.
emit something that made them all leave.
Yeah. It's like if dogs, they can hear really high stuff. Bugs can hear even higher stuff. So you can just emit the really high pitch thing. And the bugs will all be like, no.
And the bugs will go away. And the same thing needs to happen in the shower facilities.
Yep. Sounds nice.
And then everything else can be the same. I can deal. You know what? I can even deal with a little snake passing through. Like so many other things about nature that are a little scary sometimes, or weird, or surprising, whatever. Like I can deal with it. I know, you know, like don't keep your food out. It'll bring the bears. Just be smart. But bugs.
You can't do anything. You can't not keep your food out and spiders won't come.
Right. There's no solution except to be like somehow zen and just be like, we share space.
I had a very similar idea.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. That's good. It means it's a good idea. Two people had it independently. That proves that it's a good idea.
Cool.
But a big dome thing that would just sort of keep out bugs, but allow passage of all other creatures.
You guys are going to ruin the ecosystem of your campsite.
Yeah, but only for like a day.
Right,
Well,
exactly. Just for a little bit of time.
This is how these things start.
But also,
And
they
then
can
suddenly-
be right around the edges.
Yeah,
They can just hang
they'll
out?
be fine.
Yeah.
Like they have
What if
so
you looked
much
and it was
space.
just like a layer of spiders watching you from above?
That'll be a problem. No, I think the thing is they don't want to touch the dome.
My idea is not something that's going to make the entirety of camping more exciting, but it's a little like Mike's, where it's an optional, interesting, participatory event that you can do if you want when you go to a campground specifically. You know, in the Hunger Games, where they project people's faces into the air?
Oh, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
And they're like, they died.
Yeah, they died. I want that, but a whole movie. I want camping to be like a drive-in movie, where every campsite has a view of the sky where they project this movie. And then you can tune into your radio and listen to it if you want, but you don't have to. You can be like, oh, it's fine. Like there's just a movie happening in the sky or whatever. I mean, you don't have to pay attention. But I love the idea of a bunch of people camping in different places, all listening to the same movie and like laying down in nature and looking up at the sky and watching a movie. That sounds amazing.
That is fun.
Like I really like that idea. And there's nothing that you really have to set up if it's a projection technology that can somehow be sophisticated enough to just project onto the clouds or whatever it does. I don't know how that works.
I mean, I think it worked in Hunger Games because they weren't actually in nature. They were in like a big dome.
That's true. So maybe you set up a very big dome like Emily's Bug Dome, but for movies. I think that would be really fun, and I would really enjoy going camping at that place. Especially if I could look at the schedule of which movies they would be and be like, oh, I'm going to go watch 2001: A Space Odyssey while laying in the grass. Like that sounds really fun.
Camping in the middle of nowhere is really cool, but I always do kind of like that like vague sense of community that's like kind of unacknowledged.
Yeah.
But like we used to, my parents would figure out like, oh, there's going to be a lecture about wolves tonight at this little hut, whatever they were. And so then we'd like go and you'd like walk with all the other families headed to the wolf lecture. It's not like required bonding or like required community activity, but you do sort of like kind of get to know them a little bit. And there's like this little vague bond there. So watching a movie together would be kind of like together but apart.
Bond.
Yeah.
I love it.
I went to Devil's Tower to see Close Encounters. They showed it.
This next segment is called Would You Blanket? It's a segment where we propose something to one person by saying, would you do this thing? Could be kiss it, eat it, love it, tattoo it.
Is that a Daft Punk song?
Yeah. That person decides if they would do that. But then we walk it back and forth and all around until we reach some sort of strange stopping point that we all decide on.
Very true.
Today's is for David, correct?
For David.
And the scenario that I've come up with is, would you check it out? Mike had another suggestion for it called Would You Unzip It? Which is definitely a part of checking it out, and I will explain.
Okay, so there can be multiple maybe verbs. Would you unzip?
Sure, but I mean they are kind of a part of the same thing. They're related.
Great. Okay.
So the deal is kind of like we were just talking about how a part of camping, unless you go to like a really isolated site, is that there are other humans around you, and hopefully everybody's respectful, and quiet time happens at a reasonable time, or I never mind if some people want to like sit around talking by the campfire with some beers, but there's like a reasonable amount of like respectfulness that you can expect from your camping neighbors.
Totally.
You are camping and it's just you, solo camping trip.
Ooh, okay.
Just little Dave.
You have a nice,
I like doing
you
that.
have a
I've done
nice
it. It's
tent.
fun.
You've had a really nice day, beautiful weather, made yourself a delicious meal over the fire. Your camping neighbors, there was like a little family. There was another guy who with his truck. There was a couple across the way, like just kind of your regular average
Family, guy with truck, couple.
Yeah.
That's it.
Random sampling of campers.
Big three.
And you are just about to fall asleep. It's been pretty quiet. And right as you're about to fall asleep, you hear someone playing like off of like a crappy little like boombox style. What sounds like circus music kind of, or like old timey like polka type music. And it's like just loud enough that you're like, I can't sleep with that.
It's making me uncomfortable. It's just at that volume where it's not like horrible, but it's like I can't ignore the circus music.
Yes. You cannot just like force yourself to go to sleep.
Maybe
with
if it was a
it's
good
just
sound system, I'd be like, oh yeah,
it's
lean
shitty.
into it, but it's horrible.
It's shitty,
it's
and
tinny.
it's like it's the music is also has that vaguely creepy vibe.
Oh, I mean, circus music always does.
So
Not always.
the question is,
Not always.
would you grab your headlamp and check it out?
Unzip it.
Would I unzip my tent and check it out?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I don't think I would. I think I would. No, wait. Is the question? Would I go to get it, or would I just like look?
Would you get out of your tent and walk towards the sound to check it out?
Okay.
Which would also be potentially you confronting whoever is playing the music.
Can I ask how long it's been going on, or did it just start?
It just started about 5 minutes ago.
Okay. I would let it happen. And maybe even like if I have my phone, which I bet I do, because, it's 2019, I just put on some of my own music to try to or like a podcast to just occupy my brain in a different way and try to drown it out.
Okay.
The music you put on does not quite drown out the sound of the old calliope coming out of the woods nearby your campsite. Keeps going on, but it's not super loud. And so you think maybe you can drift off to sleep.
Nice.
However, you begin to hear what sounds like giggling.
Yes.
Coming, at first sounds like it's coming from the same direction as the circus music, but then you realize it's actually coming from several different points around your tent.
Child giggling or adult giggling?
How old is the giggle?
We're going to say old giggling.
Old giggling.
Old giggling.
Is it a person named Old
It's the
Giggling?
old giggler.
You're going to have to
the old
unzip
giggler.
it to check out.
Oh my God.
It does seem like it's far off. It's not like right outside your tent. It's off in the woods somewhere, but it definitely sounds like something's up with this giggling.
Giggling at multiple points of origin.
Yes.
That's suspicious.
Yep. So that's going on now. You going to unzip it?
Yes, I definitely am.
Oh.
That's real weird. I am of the opinion, and we talked about this 2 episodes ago in the would you rather hear a ghost or see a ghost question. And the answer is see, because then I know what it is. If I stay in my tent and this giggling persists, my brain will come up with the worst possible thing that the giggling could be, and I will be way too scared. But if I just go out and it's just a bunch of people laughing, I'll be like, okay, cool, it's good, we're safe. And then I can go back in my tent and try to go to sleep. I want to check it out because I feel like I'll be less scared if I see what it is.
See the giggles.
I want to look at old Giggler.
Okay.
Okay, so you've decided to check it out.
Decided to check it out.
And just as you're reaching for the zipper on your tent, you suddenly hear the giggling interrupted by a very intense shushing. It's a man, like it's an adult man's voice, sort of whisper shouting, like shut up. You got to be quiet right now. Like he sounds pissed, but he is clearly making an attempt to quiet the giggling. But it also sounds just like very angry and violent in his shushing of the gigglers.
Oh my God.
That sort of the rebuking and the shushing continues to go on. And there's like hushed like lectures and that you can't really make out the words of. Do you check it out?
My brain, I'm trying to just like role play how I would put these pieces together in my brain. And I'd be like, okay, that's weird. That's strange, unexpected, but it's probably one of my neighbors. He also heard the giggling and is coming to deal with the situation like I was going to. So I'm going to stay observer. I might hit record on the old cell phone just to get some audio in case these are real ghosts, and then I can finally prove to the world that ghosts are real. But I don't think I would go outside anymore because it sounds like someone else is, quote, dealing with it, unquote.
Albeit in not the same way you would probably.
No, definitely not. In a way that is much more animated and maybe mean than what I would have done. If I'm trying to imagine something rational, it's a park ranger or a neighbor that has said, no more giggling. Many old people that are in the woods. So I'm staying in.
So the giggling ceases. The rebukes cease. And you doze off for a little bit. But you are awoken by a very low growling noise. It sounds like it could be an animal or possibly someone pretending to be an animal.
Even better.
But you also hear this very close to your tent. In fact, it sounds like they're brushing up against the side of your tent even.
Oh, God.
What are you going to do, man?
Oh, God. Yuck. Yucky, ew, no. Gross.
Could be an animal. You're not really sure what kind of animal it is, but it does sound rather large.
Yikes. So if the question is, what are you going to do, man? That's a lot of options. Are my options actually...
Are you going to poke your head outside the tent, confront this
okay.
thing, or are you just going to like
You gonna
hope it goes
unzip it.
away? Or do whatever it is you're going to do inside your tent?
Yeah. You start reading a book.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, conventional wisdom says you stay inside if that's an actual bear. Like, don't like go spook it or engage it in some way. Like, just stay where you're at, let it do its thing, it'll walk off. So I'm going to stay in my tent.
Okay. So you decide to stay in your tent, feeling a little uneasy about the closeness of
I'm
this
freaked.
growling.
Like, I'm sitting up in the middle of my tent, staring
Not
at
into it.
where I think it is. Like, freaked out, but I'm not going outside.
Okay, so then suddenly a bright light that you can't tell if it's a flashlight or not, but a bright light shines from one direction on the side of your tent. A very elaborate shadow puppet play begins to play out on the side of your tent. And it's like immediately like very engaging. Like you, right. It's not just like someone's like doing a bunny or whatever. It's like you are immediately like, oh God, okay. So these are the characters. This is the
It's like an
plot.
opera.
It's like very,
Wow.
very well done.
Wow.
So it begins, but it's also like clearly happening just for you. You don't really hear any sounds anymore.
It's silent?
It's silent. That's a silent shadow play happening on the side of your tent just for you. Mysterious bright light source. No more growling, but they're clearly not whatever the source of this is not far from you.
This is some fey shit. Like
you
all of
check
this
it
happening
out?
is like some come to me.
Yeah, join the creatures of the night.
Yeah, it really is. Oh, do I check it out? No, because it's happening for me. It's only good in the tent. Like it's a shadow play. If I go outside, it's wrecked.
You're gonna miss.
I'll miss the end, and I need to know what happens. I assume it's very engaging. It sounds very well produced. No, I'm staying in the tent. I'm going to finish that shadow play movie that someone is creating for me. Can I ask, like, just for flavor?
Yeah.
How many hands does it seem like it is?
It seems like
that-
there are at least 3 people putting it on.
Okay.
Let me add one other element.
Ooh.
You are very clearly a character in the shadow play.
Okay. Okay.
Like there is a bearded gentleman
As to
that
how
is clearly you.
Right. That's spookier. I may roll back the firmness with which I said I would stay inside. As long as it doesn't seem like I'm dying in the shadow play, I'm going to stay inside. If it's like, look at this guy getting hung by a bunch of forest creatures, it's like,
That
okay,
would
I'm going to
drive
go
you
out there.
outside?
That would drive me outside to be like, what's happening?
What
Like,
if that's when they string you up?
That's when they string me up. You're going to get me either way, probably. But it's
Right.
more about me seeing versus not seeing. And I think right
Okay.
now I still want to stay inside and I want to see how the play goes.
Okay.
This is how the play goes. So it's reenacting major events in your life, the epic odyssey of David.
Yeah, hero's journey.
And it starts to come to conclusion, and it actually starts playing out the events of that night.
Yeah.
So you see, like, someone is playing a boombox of circus music. There's
shadow puppeting music notes
Yeah,
coming from
yeah,
a boombox. It's very elaborate.
And it leads up to somehow they're actually showing you watching the shadow play on the
Amazing.
shadow
Oh,
play.
I love this.
And it
This is so
concludes
good.
with you, the shadow version of you leaving the tent and going out into the woods and joining a large party of people who are having a good time. They're drinking drinks, they're laughing laughs, they're singing songs. That's how it concludes. And everyone celebrates, and Shadow David is having a good shadow time. What are you going to do?
See, I thought that it would be more bad if it was sinister and they were like, and then Shadow David dies. But this is, having read many a fairy tale, this is way creepier.
Sounds like a good time.
It just sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Witch party in the woods.
I mean, which party in the woods? That does actually sound cool.
They know how to party in the woods.
They do.
David.
And I'm on my own. Oh my God. If I wasn't on my own, this would be so much easier. That's what's good
You would
about
push your significant other
No,
out
I
into
would be like, hey, you stay at a distance and watch. And if I get too into it, or if somebody starts to suck out my blood, like, get me.
If
Pull
I
on
get
that
too
rope.
into it, like if you start like
I don't
twerking
know.
with a witch or
the forest
something.
dancing.
I don't, if I start
The
twerking with
pixie
a witch,
enchantments.
it's over. It's done.
Too far gone.
Too far. Yeah, that's a bridge that I will not cross. No witch twerking. So I think Man, this is really hard. This is
Good,
it.
David.
You've done it.
Good.
We
This
wanted
is-
to
this
challenge
is very
you.
challenging. I think as hard as it would be, oh my God. I think I would go. I would see.
Join the shadow
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. I think I would unzip it and check it out. That does not mean I would fully participate in whatever debauchery they have set up for
Too
me.
late.
But I would at least, that would be what got me out of the tent.
Okay.
You step out and immediately get handed an invitation that says "Twerking with the Witch Party this way," and there are little arrows pointing you to the party.
Fred handed this
Yeah.
by the bear that was just an actual bear.
Yeah.
That was by my tent.
Here on the Hypotheticast, we have another segment that we call If I Were You, where we talk about things we would do if I were you. If I were you, I would go camping in the woods and bring along a little projector and project a horror movie on the side of my
Ooh.
tent, specifically one dealing with camping.
Have you done that before?
No.
Oh,
Yeah, it sounds
I
great,
want
though.
to, though.
What is a good example of?
I would say any of the Friday the 13th, except for the ones where he goes to Manhattan or space.
Sure.
All the other
Although,
ones are
you
about
camping
camping.
in space, maybe.
Well, if you go to Space Camp, you can watch that one.
Yeah, Space Camp.
Jason X is fine if you're at Space Camp.
Yes.
Also, you could watch Space Camp, but that's
Good
more
movie.
about space than camp. There's a lot of camping ones, but yeah, the Friday the 13th are a good bet.
Yeah.
Watch it on the side of your tent or in a tree or however you want to do it. Don't disturb other campers, please. But I think it could give you a really nice vibe. Evil Dead would probably be a good one.
sure.
One or two, not Army of Darkness, unless you're camping in medieval times.
I mean, anything that has the woods in it would probably be good
the
too.
woods.
Like,
Cabin in the Woods.
yeah, sure. Just because there's
yeah.
woods around you and you could like imagine what could come out of them.
I think that'd be real fun. I'm going to go do it right now.
Oh, wow.
Bye.
Wow. Hey,
Hi.
if I were you, I would go to a campfire of some kind. Could even be a bonfire, but let's say it's a campfire for the sake of the theme. And you put a little marshmallow on a pokey stick. You put it over the fire and you melt it. And then you put it between 2 graham crackers. And you might think you know what's coming next. But no, you do not.
What?
Leave that Hershey's chocolate in the trash where it belongs and take from that same trash a half unwrapped Reese's that got dropped on the ground. Put it on the s'more and you got yourself a s'more that has peanut butter in it too. Reese's instead of Hershey's in a s'more, change your life.
it's so good.
But wait, throw away those graham crackers. Take 2 s'mores Pop-Tarts.
Hey.
Put those on there.
Yeah.
And then you're going to crazy
Oh,
town.
that
Nice.
seems like too much for me.
Too much?
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Smush that marshmallow between 2 marshmallow peanut butter sandwiches made
Yeah.
with 4 slices of bread. No, the Pop-Tarts are the slices of bread.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're cooking with
Then-
gasoline.
Cover it all in gravy.
And then deep fry it. Oh my God,
Okay.
I'd eat that.
Oh my God. If I were you, I would, before going camping, which I recommend you all do, unless you're super pregnant like me. So I'm not going to be doing that this year, but maybe next year.
Aw.
I would go to a bookstore and find a nice R.L. Stein classic. So here's the deal. If it's just, if you're going just with a small group or with people you don't think who would enjoy this activity, get yourself like a Fear Street or one of the like older, for older ages ones and read it in the tent at night. I used to do that all the time. I would always pick an R.L. Stein or Christopher Pike before going camping with my fam. And that was great. Great tent reading. But if you're with a group that you think could get into it, get yourself a Goosebumps, sit around that fire, everybody reads a chapter, you start to create like voices for different characters. I did this one time and it was just simply because we found a Goosebumps book in this cabin at this place we were camping, some friends, and we read the whole thing. It was like the Pumpkinhead one where like everybody slowly turns into a pumpkin
Yep.
head. I don't
That
know.
one's really
I
weird.
think that's like half of them.
It was a weird one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, it never
I mean, it's
related.
like
People are
not
always
going to
just
actually
turning
be
into
scary,
it.
which is why I feel like most people could get into it because it's Goosebumps. So you're not actually going to freak out, but you could have fun with it. Feels like a good way to enjoy the spooky vibes of camping without it getting too real.
Right. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Thank you.
I want to do it.
If I were you, I would want to see and interact with the 3 of us more on the internet.
Yeah.
Because we're a little much in person, to be honest. So
Ooh, tough to handle.
not for everyone is what they say. But on the internet, we're on Facebook at Hypotheticast, on Twitter at Hypotheticast, on Instagram at Hypotheticast_IG. In all of those places, we ask lots of other hypothetical questions. We engage with you. It's a great time. You could also find us on our website, hypotheticast.club, where you can listen to our episodes or leave comments, or you could just send us a good old-fashioned email, hypotheticast@gmail.com.
Or you can leave us a review on the iTunes podcast app or any podcast app that lets you leave a review. That's a great way to get the word out about us. Another good way to do that is to tell your friends, family, and acquaintances about us. It lets people know that we exist so they can also listen to us.
Jaden James and the Hunger. You kidding me? Thanks, Buds, for that song that you wrote called Killin' It. It's from the album Raw. And thank you to Christian Hagen for the logo he made for you to look at. Thanks to every listener that sent in a question this week. Y'all did good. There were some gems, there were some rubies, there were some sapphires. There's a lot going on. And we really appreciate that. Thank you also for listening, because listening is participatory, and I really appreciate it.
I have a final question for our final segment, No Questions Asked, where we will do no follow-up questions to this question. I'm going to read it as written, and you can respond how you choose.
Okay.
It is from Scott Monsma. Scott asks, would you rather have an intense experience with insect-laden s'mores or s'mores-laden insects? Choose your choice.
S'mores-laden insects.
Same. Bye.
See you later.
See ya.
I'm marching, marching. 'Cause I'm killing it. I'm killing it. I'm killing it. I'm killing it.
Are spiders bugs?
That's a good question. I don't
Yes.
think so.
I think bugs are insects and
Bugs are
spiders are
insects.
not insects.
Bugs isn't a scientific term.
Bug-
Yeah, bugs isn't a scientific term. It
so
just
I think
means
spiders are bugs, because it's
Bu-
just kind of
and
like little things that
Bugs
crawl
Bunny
fast.
is a bunny and a bug,
And
too.
a spider.
No, he's just
He's a
bugs.
bunny and a spider combined.
Okay.
Well, Bugs Bunny is what they call him because there's also a character called Meat Bunny, and the first
there
word
is.
like their bunny's first name is what they're made of inside. Oh, so that spider
Okay.
it's a bunch of spiders inside a bug,
Good.
or a bunch of spiders inside a bunny costume.
Yeah.
That's what Bugs Bunny is.
Ew,